Hey guys, and welcome to episode 29, I think, of my From the Island series. You know the dig already. Tutorial Island, Crown Exchange, items we get, see what we can flip, and see how much money we can make. So in the previous episode, we found that the joint of ham was working really well. And in this episode, we are going to push on with that, see any of our items working just as good, and just keep on flipping to that 50mil goal. So for the start of this episode, we are going to work on a couple of god rope tops, jointed a ham, flare trousers, spike manacles, pretty much the same we've been doing the past couple of episodes, which I know can get a bit samey and a bit boring, but we're still trying to rotate the items we're doing, still trying to find what items are better, but these 6 we're doing now seems to be the ones which are both generating the most profit, but are also turning around as quick as possible in terms of buying and selling. Sometimes you can find an item which has a massive margin, but if it's not buying quick enough or selling quick enough, sometimes you can outperform it with something better. So this is what our G slot's going to look like. Hopefully we can find some new items for later on in the episode. But starting off roughly at about a 38mil cash stack, and we'll see how we get on. So we'll update with some buys and sells, and we'll go from there. So I've noticed sometimes that the joints of ham can be a bit sporadic. Sometimes it can go very quickly, and sometimes can have a bit of a wobble. And this is what you'll normally find with niche items. They can be really quick to sell, or sometimes it can be quite difficult, and you're almost stuck with them. But luckily, the joints of ham has that much of a margin that we can afford to take a little bit less, just to make sure they shift and move quicker. Sometimes just dropping that price by 20 to 30k when we're dealing with a 150k margin can make a lot more money and a lot quicker by just simply turning over the items. Joints of ham have a massive buy limit as well, so we can just keep recycling through them even if we're taking less profit. The holy sandals is something which I thought would be a bit more big ticket, a bit more of a profit than they are, but they do seem to move quite quick. So they're not too bad, and we'll keep them going. And as always, for the past couple of episodes, flare trousers have always been there, and they're probably still the MVP of this series, and they're still moving quite well. The god rope tops are just consistent, and they don't really sort of falter. Sometimes they take a bit longer than what the other items, but they still sell, and they still sell for a decent margin anyway. So with all our G slots, we are at 36.7mil, and we have got 7 Sara robe legs in the info as well, which will probably be another 1.4mil. So roughly about 38mil. Now, I've changed the end goal for this series to about 50mil, just because I think it's just going to be repetition. Now, in terms of an end goal, that's not the end of the series. Depending on what the feedback is, maybe we just finally drop the clue scroll items and try and find other items. I think starting with a 50mil cash stack and trying to go for 1 bill could always be an option, or whether we take that 50mil and go in for another series. Whether we go down the route of creating an account based off 50mil, or trying something fun like maybe a PK account, or just something to do with what base of cash we've made. I'm all up for ideas, so if you do have any ideas for the next series, please let me know. But I do think once we hit 50mil, that will be the end of the flipping run. So logging back in, we've had quite a few sells and buying the holy sandals as well. So just going to check in on these margins. We're doing pretty well at the minute. The 2 big ticket items in terms of flare trousers and ham joint, maybe not as quick as I'd like, but that's just flipping for you. Sometimes we go, sometimes we don't. But katanas, which have been the one item throughout the series which has been either absolutely high or so low, and it's probably pulled off some of the biggest margins for an item which has no purpose apart from cosmetic. We bought some more and we're going to sell them again. The average, I think, for a sort of flip for a katana is about 20-25k, but sometimes we've managed to pull off anywhere up to about 150k, just depending on how the market's gone. And that's why you should always check the margins before buying, because sometimes you can pick up a lot bigger of a margin if you just check it first. But that's what we're looking like in terms of items, and we'll come back. So those flare trousers just don't want to go at the minute. The god robe tops do seem to be moving quite quick though, thankfully, and the holy sandals as well are going. I can't really get much more than about 20-25k per holy sandals, which on a 1 mil investment is not the best, but they are moving quickly and a lot quicker than other items we've got at the minute. Spike manacles as well, similar to the ham joint, do have a point where they move really quick, and like at the minute they're not moving quick at all. It just depends how it is and what sort of time zone or what's buying or stuff like that. But spike manacles are very niche. They go to the PK market for the pures because they do have a high strength bonus going. So there is a demand for it, but sometimes it can peak sometimes. So just coming back, we're going to try and see what we can do with these flared trousers. We're having a bit of a problem at the minute where they're just not seeming to shift. So we'll just do a quick check on the margin. And this might be the case where we leave them alone for a while. Sometimes, and previously in the series, we've only managed to get a margin of about a K towards about 20-25k. And for me on an item that's 3 mil, it's just not enough, and I'd rather just go and find something which is less risky, holds less money, and maybe put that money towards ham joints if they're going better than what we are, because they've got a bigger margin, bigger buy margin. So we're going to just drop the price down on the flared trousers just so we can get that cash back, and maybe we'll put it into something else depending on when they go. And in terms of the other items as well, we're just cycling through God Robe tops, God Robe legs, depending on what has the best margin at the time, and the manacles, sandals, and katanas as well. Sometimes with the katanas, like I mentioned in previous episodes, depending on where it is in terms of a buy price, sometimes it's better to hold them in your invo and just keep buying them while they're low, and then hopefully at some point they will peak. But just a bit of a rough guess, because I know sometimes I keep items in the inventory and it does hide where we are. In the invo at the minute, we've got about 10 mil. And then once we look at the GE as well, we've not doing too bad either. That 100k is left over from the infamous beret incident. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So looking at the GE now, we're sort of still roughly about the 38.5 mil mark. And luckily we've managed to get rid of them flared trousers. We managed to get rid of some of the other items as well. And it does seem to be picking up a little bit. Now, sometimes between these clips, it could be hours, it could be minutes, and sometimes it could be days. It depends on when I'm working and sort of what shifts I'm working. And normally when I come back to a full GE slot, which has sold all the items, it has been a couple of days. So although we're sort of making a couple mil per episode at the minute, and we're doing quite well, normally an episode can give or take be about a week, maybe a couple of days to do so. Now, it's not the best money going. It's not the quickest money ever made. But for the amount of time I put on this account and the amount of time I actually play on this account, it's actually not bad. And I think when we're done 50 mil and we've reached the end target, we'll go and see Hans in Lumby and see how long we've actually played this account for. Because I'm quite interested to see how much money per hour we've made. Because it's a good sort of benchmark to see how well we've done in terms of flipping. But just cycling through these items now for the end of the episode, and just want to tell you whereabouts we're going to be. But flared trousers, we're going to put in a couple of low ball offers just in the hope that they buy. Sometimes they do. Low margins, you can sometimes catch people out and pick up a bargain. And we'll just put in the ham joint along with whatever god item works best for the time. But that is going to be the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed. I know we're pretty much cycling through the same sort of items at the minute. But I do, in the background, keep going through various items to see if we can get anything better. I like variety in the episodes, but at the minute it really is just what money we've got in sort of the limitations of just doing clue scroll items till 50 mil. These are what are working best for us. But once we've sort of broken that 50 mil barrier, we'll go and try some new items, or we'll go and try some new things, or maybe build the account up. At the minute, the account is still one in everything, so we can definitely do a progress series on that. But please let me know your suggestions. But I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have, please leave a like, and if you want to see the remainder of this series or start from the beginning, please subscribe. We do have a playlist for this series, and I hope you've enjoyed. So if you want to join the next episode, please subscribe, and we'll see you there.